Am I the asshole for wanting to leave my boyfriend because of how much money he makes? I've been with my boyfriend for almost a year. He treats me very nice, has always been super kind, he's emotionally supportive and can communicate pretty well, and has taken on the role of stepdad, father figure for my kids. When we first started dating, I expressed to him that I don't really believe in going 50-50. Not that it can't work for other people, but I've been a single mom for 3.5 years before we started dating, so I'm used to doing everything myself anyways. Some may not even agree with the way of my thinking, and sometimes I even question if I'm wrong or not too. To me, going 50-50 with the man I'm living with just doesn't sit right with me. It could partially be due to the fact that my mom was a stay-at-home mom, and my dad has worked the same job since he was 18. They have been married for 35 years and are still enjoying being together. Or it may stem from the fact that I would love to be a stay-at-home mom, and I do have some more traditional values. I want to feel so secure with a man that I'm able to submit to him and provide a loving, safe space and home for my kids and husband. I've been in survival mode for a long time, and I've always depended on myself to make things happen, and I'm tired of that. I want to be able to relax and know that if I lost my job tomorrow or I got sick, that everything would still be taken care of. I do not mind working, and I still have my own career. I just think I would be able to be a better girlfriend/wife if I had financial security. When I initially had this conversation with him, we weren't living together. He agreed that he would love to be able to provide support for us, and he doesn't want me to have to pay 50-50 of anything. Fast forward a couple of weeks and his lease ended, so we decided him moving in with me would be the best thing until my lease is up, and we can find a new place together. I should have been more proactive in bringing up our previous conversation again about bills, but I wasn't. It's been about 5 months since he has moved in with me, and it's safe to say our agreement has not been kept. He went through a couple of job changes when he first moved in, and he fell behind on some of his personal bills. My rent is $2,000 a month, plus a $400 car note, $200 car insurance, utilities, groceries, gas, plus 2 kids who are in sports and extracurriculars. He hasn't paid half of anything since being here. This will be the first month, tomorrow the 1st, where he is supposed to be giving me half of the rent and half of the utilities/groceries. I have a feeling that he is not going to be able to give it to me. I try not to be materialistic, and I know it's weird for me to expect a guy to cover my rent in this economy. I understand not everyone was dealt the easy hand of money or career. I know it's strange to expect something of someone that I couldn't even do myself. I know life is hard and it's easy to fall behind on things. I guess I'm just wondering if this makes me an asshole or if I have valid points. He's good in almost every other aspect than finances. I see videos a lot talking about women being with men who they couldn't call in an emergency, or if their car broke down, or if you need help on a bill. This makes me wonder if I would be a much better wife to someone who could provide that security to me. I know it's hard to find genuine people who really care, who won't cheat, and who will be a good father figure. I know that love is what life is all about, and money isn't everything, but not having the security is holding me back. Any advice is appreciated. Meeting my 16-year-old son for the very first time tomorrow.
Oh, wow. Good for you.
Hey all, to make a long story short, 17 years ago, my girlfriend at the time came to me and informed me that she was pregnant. We were in the process of splitting up when we found out. She already had one child from another gentleman and was undecided about her next moves, but it was likely that she was moving back with her parents to get some life things sorted. Her parents are approximately 14 hours away. We discussed options and what each of us would like with respects to the child. It was agreed upon that our number one intent was to provide the child with a safe and stable household in which to grow up. Adoption was the direction we were leaning in. Fast forward about 6 months into the pregnancy, she makes the decision to get back together with her first child's father and to attempt to repair that relationship. We discussed what would happen with the child's upbringing and that father one would be willing to accept full responsibility for the child and would accept him as if he were father one's own. Fast forward again to the child being about 1 year old. I received a phone call from the child's mother asking if I would like to meet. Just her and I discuss things and catch up. I agree, we meet and catch up. She gives me a couple of photos from the first year life. I'm also informed that the move back to be closer to the parents is happening at the end of the month. The only other contact that was made was approximately 5 years ago when I got an email with an updated email address for the mother. No other details were provided. One final fast forward to Sunday of last week, I receive a notification that the child's mother would like to connect with me via LinkedIn. It is of note that neither of us really keep any social media presence, as neither of us really see any point to it. Accepting the invitation, and I got a message via LinkedIn that said, "Hi OP, I apologize for seeking you out through business, but this was the only way I could find you to contact. This must be a bit of a surprise to hear from me out of the blue. I hope you're well. Child's name here is 16 years old. He's been asking questions about his birth father and genetics. I think he would like to meet you. If perhaps you might be interested, please contact me at phone number or email address. I only joined LinkedIn to be able to reach you. If you have concerns or would not like to meet, I would still appreciate a short reply, just so I know you received this message. Again, I hope this finds you well. Mother's name." I'm completely shaken at this point. I have ebbed and flowed on the desire to reach out for years and have not done so, as I have not wanted to overstep and deeply value a two-parent household, not a two-parent household plus another parent, with or without the spouse on the side. I reach out to the mother via phone, and we have a short but pleasant conversation. They're living about 45 minutes away and have been for the last 12 years. We agree to meet for coffee and to catch up again the following day, Monday. We talked for about 5 hours. I saw many photos, heard about the child's upbringing, his successes, his failures, some funny stories, all of the things that a parent would like to hear about their child. At the end of the meeting, I'm asked if I would like to meet the child at a restaurant somewhere close to the middle of our places on Saturday, tomorrow. I agree to this and am now approximately 16 hours away from this meeting. I'm going to be completely honest. I'm freaking out over here. After feeling like I've failed my first and only child, I chose to get a vasectomy, as I never wanted to feel that level of guilt and failure ever again. There were so many times that I felt like I was never ever going to have the opportunity to meet my child, and I have done a lot of work to make peace with that thought. How do I even approach this situation at this point? I am over the moon, excited to meet my child for the first time. However, I still have such incredible feelings of guilt and failure. I have concerns for the unknown. Will the meeting be a positive one? Am I simply going there to get shredded by a teenager with an axe to grind, or an otherwise negative disposition towards a father that was not there for him? As mentioned above, I have never had children. I don't know how to parent. I recognize that it's still very much not my role, but that doesn't change the fact that I have no idea what I'm doing, even in this meeting tomorrow. Any thoughts and opinions are very welcome. And then there's an edit and update. First off, I once again would like to express my sincere, heartfelt thank yous to every one of you that sent in such incredibly kind and thoughtful comments. I did not really know what I was expecting as a response when I made this post, but what I got was, for the most part, so incredibly kind and thoughtful. I'm truly humbled by the outpouring of support from all of you across the globe. For the first time in the better part of a week, I managed to sleep well and took advantage of that to catch up on some sleep. I apologize for the tardiness of this update. Regardless, here we go. We met at 3 p.m. Eastern yesterday at a sit-down chain restaurant. When I walked in at 2:45 p.m., I was standing at the front waiting to speak with the hostess. When I saw my ex walking up to me, we spoke briefly, and I was informed that my son was sitting at a table close. I was beyond nervous. We walked over to the table together. It was oriented thus that his back was towards the door. I let his mother lead, and she said in her typical calm and gentle voice, "Child's name, this is OP." We exchanged smiles, and I sat down across from him. As expected, the tension and nerves were palpable. All parties involved were very much wired for sound. We exchanged pleasantries, similar to what anyone would do when meeting someone for the first time. "Pleasure to meet you. I've heard many good things about you. How have you been?" The "how have you been" question sparked a response that I was not necessarily expecting, but probably should have, given that this gentleman across from me shares my DNA, and therefore I should have known he would also carry my dry, sarcastic sense of humor. And he said, "Like recently or over the past 16 years?"
Nice.
All I could really do was smile broadly and answer with, "Whatever you would like to share, or both if that works for you." We share a meal, spoke for about 2.5 hours at the restaurant, and took some first steps to catch up. I learned about his love of books, movies, and music, his deeply rooted love of video games, mythology, and folklore. He assuredly had questions about me and my life over the past 16 years, but he was exceptionally kind and gentle in his questioning. I never felt like his intent was to attack, only to probe and to quell his curiosity about where he came from. Near the end of the meal, there was a pause in conversation, and I felt it was appropriate to very simply and frankly say, "Thanks for reaching out," which was met with a very genuine smile and, of course, as a response. We collectively decided to leave the restaurant and walk around a shopping center that was close by. See also in the same parking lot. This guy's very descriptive.
Yeah. You said quell. I was like, chill.
I was like, is Sadia writing this? We walked and talked for another hour, very casual conversation, like that of a couple old friends catching up after an extended absence in each other's lives. The sense of calm and relief that progressively washed over me as we had this conversation was unbelievable. As the meeting came to a conclusion, both my ex and I reinforced that it is greatly the decision of my son if he would like to continue to foster a relationship, and that both of us would support, respect, and honor whatever decision that was made. After a moment of reflection, I think that I would really like that was uttered. It is not lost on me that there is a lot of work to be done, and that it's going to take a long time to do all of that work. I'm ready for it. I'm honestly willing to do what I need to do in order to make this right. I know that he has a lot to unpack, my ex has a lot to unpack, and I have a lot to unpack from this past week. I'm simply happy and content with the thought that things are moving in a healthy direction. We took a picture together before we left. I have it on my phone right now. I'm not about to post it for anonymity purposes of my child, but one thing that really stands out to me is that in the picture, we have the same damn smile. The world works in such strange ways, but I am a firm believer that things will unfold as they are intended to, and this is another step in my walk of life. Come what may, I'm here to accept it and work my ass off to cross any hurdle that may show. Thanks again. Am I the asshole for not financially supporting my husband more? Hi everyone. I know I might be the asshole here, but I need some perspective on just how much. Here's what happened, and then I'll provide some background. Yesterday, my 19 female, husband, 29 male.
Wait. 19 female, 20.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Uh-oh. I'm gonna keep an eye on that one.
Lack of self-awareness. Uh-oh. Your husband too?
Yes.
Whoa. Not good.
Set up a new joint bank account for our 2-month-old daughter.
Whoa.
So at least 11 months
Yeah,
together?
at least 11 months. And then you had time before that to have a relationship? Uh-oh.
And you're 19.
You're married as well? Uh-oh.
So 18. Yes?
Maybe it's a late 19,
Benefit
like
of
you're
the-
about to turn 20.
Yeah.
So the 11 months is in while it happened. While
So she at
19.
least had 6 months of being a grown adult teenager.
Yeah, maybe. Whoa.
A new adult. Maybe at least she had 6 months since she graduated high school.
Oh no. Because he's had several years. He has 10 years.
Yeah, he's had 10 years since he graduated high school.
It's a slight difference.
Yeah, yep.
Okay.
Yesterday, my 19 female, husband, 29 male, set up a new joint bank account for our 2-month-old daughter and said I should put her child benefit money in that account. He wanted to use it for only her needs, not personal expenses, but also asked me to discuss any further purchases I make for her with him beforehand. I pushed back a bit, saying that since the child benefit is in my name, I'd like to manage it. I've been the one primarily handling all of her needs except for nappies, which he buys, and I haven't been frivolous with it. He got upset, saying it's her money, not yours, but I clarified I wasn't spending it on myself, I just didn't want to lose control of it. This led to a bigger discussion that evening, and he ended up saying he felt hurt and unsupported. He reminded me of how, when he was struggling a lot financially, I hadn't offered him more help, even though he later saw in my bank accounts, which he needed for a visa application, that I had about 1,200 euros saved up. To be clear, this money came from gifts after I gave birth and saved universal credit payments. In my mind, I was saving it as an emergency. I was saving it as a cushion for our family's emergencies, not necessarily to help him pay off debts or cover monthly expenses. His comments really hurt in this conversation. He said I wasn't kind and that I'm greedy, and he implied that he wants a wife who would be kind and give more. It felt like he was suggesting he'd prefer a different partner. Now for some additional background. While I was pregnant, my husband decided to quit his job to work on a business in his home country. I supported him because it's his dream and he genuinely thought he'd find a new job quickly when he returned. But it's been about 8 months and he's still looking. His business does alright, but it leaves him with a very tight budget. So I applied for universal credit to help us. I give him half of what I get since he covers rent and food. Before we were married, we agreed I'd be a housewife. and he'd give me a monthly allowance of 200 euros for personal expenses, covering other essentials. Once he quit his job, I suggested lowering this amount, which he appreciated and still gave me what he could. But once I got universal credit, about 800 euros a month, it didn't make sense for him to keep giving me money, and I started giving 400 euros a month. One reason why I took more money monthly than I took before is because I wanted to save some money because he's particular about not relying on benefits more than needed. He even didn't want me to apply for council housing, and he didn't want our rent listed as more than 600 euros on the universal credit form. He also doesn't want to take certain jobs, fearing his clients might see him and it could hurt his business's reputation. So he's been looking for very specific jobs. And honestly, previously, I never asked for more money and learned to do beauty treatments I like to get myself, and after buying items to keep my appearance and on public transport, I could buy clothes and things when I needed, and I always felt uncomfortable asking, so I liked the freedom that money gave me. I admit I've been cautious with my savings. I wanted to avoid being a new source of income for him, while still keeping a financial cushion for emergencies. I also wanted enough for things like transportation, toiletries, and even clothes for myself, since I couldn't always afford those before. I know in our culture, as practicing Muslims, my money is traditionally my own, while he is responsible for household expenses. But I know I could have been more open about what I had saved, as I did save one whole universal credit payment that was backdated. He also pointed out that since I don't technically work for the universal credit payments, I shouldn't feel entitled to it, and we only get it because we have to pay rent, which is partially true. However, they also give this money as I was pregnant and unable to work, and will give for 2 years post-birth, and then I will need to start working to receive payments. Honestly, right now, I'm feeling hurt by his comments of me being greedy and unkind, so it's a bit hard to see the situation clearly. If anyone can give advice on how I should handle this, it would be great, as I'm still kind of immature, and I don't know how to support him / deal with these situations. I would also like to clarify, even though I did give him extra money whenever he asked, as always, I had at least 50 euros saved. So am I the asshole for not offering more financial support to my husband, given our situation? Am I the asshole for harboring resentment against my holier-than-thou grandmother after finding out a huge family secret? I, 25 female, found out from my mother, 45 female, a few years ago that she had discovered her father, the grandfather I know, was not her biological father. What's crazy is she found out accidentally. So a little backstory, my mom has always taken health and wellness very seriously, so when she and I started to have some similar health issues, she started looking into our family history through Ancestry.com to see if she could find anything out of note. She took a DNA test and found out
She was that. 100%.
She took a DNA test and was shocked to find that my grandfather, her alleged dad, was nowhere on her biological family tree. For some backstory, my mom and I didn't always get along. I think it's just because she had me young, and when I was a teenager, we bumped heads a lot, but we got along fine. When I was 17, I moved to my grandmother's just for a little space from my parents, and because it was closer to my college, and it just ended up working out. It was easier because my mom was single until she met my stepdad, so I had spent a lot of time with my grandparents anyways. Everything was fine at first, because I was still an obedient little girl, especially when it came to my grandmother. I adored her. There's not much I wouldn't do for her approval, from joining her church's worship team to almost marrying someone borderline abusive just because she liked them at 23.
Oh, wow.
I know this sounds bad, but if you know what it's like to grow up religious, it's so easy to get roped into being a people pleaser. My grandmother would preach constantly that I had to stay on the right path or that I would go to hell in a handbasket. She even did things like show me extremist videos about the end times, etc. Wild. Things started to change when I developed a brain of my own. I realized a bunch of stuff I did and wore wasn't even me. I was just doing it for validation from people who didn't even care about me. They just cared about what I could do. I started going out more, making friends. I got my first tattoo. My grandmother started acting really strange around this time. She constantly forbid me from having sleepovers with my best friend because I had to be careful about sleeping in the same bed as a girl. She was livid when I got my septum pierced, saying it was just ugly and made me uglier, and why couldn't I just be good? She just kept acting off as months passed and started being really snappy and rude. So, the main story, a few days later, my mom sat me down and told me everything. I asked her if she really got the DNA test because of medical history. She said it was partly that, and partly that she jokingly had said she was going to take a DNA test in front of my grandmother, and she basically snapped, saying that my mom didn't need to take one, and that she was just trying to start stuff. Suspicious. LOL.
Facts.
So my mom took it, and boom, there it is. I asked my mom if she had confronted her, and she said she told her that she had 2 weeks to come clean, or she would go to my grandpa herself. My grandma denied everything, saying that she never knew that my grandpa wasn't my mom's dad, but my mom saw the look on her face when she said it, and it wasn't a look of shock. It was a look of, oh shit, I'm caught. So she doesn't believe she didn't know. I was floored. I couldn't believe this woman who spoke in tongues and shamed me for ripped jeans was harboring a secret baby daddy, but she was worried about my tattoos and piercings. That's not even what really got me though. My grandmother pushes toxic purity culture so heavily. She basically believes that a woman is less valuable if she isn't a virgin when she's married and is a dedicated housewife. She picks this man's underwear up off the floor. So the fact that she of all people in the world had been pushing me because I wasn't doing what she thought was right when she can't even do what she thinks is right is insane. I started to feel rage at this point. I couldn't bear to look at my grandmother, and we started getting into more fights. It would honestly be different if she was the kind of Christian who admitted she wasn't perfect, but she's quite the opposite, which drives a lot of people away, including friends I would invite over. Nobody wants to come over and hear a lecture about how they're living their life wrong, you know? I'm honestly starting to feel disgust, and it hasn't gone away. I'm not rude to her or anything, I just kind of avoid her because I don't know what to say. Anyways, am I the asshole? Update, my mom found relatives. Hello everyone, I certainly wasn't expecting this many comments. I haven't gotten to read all of them as I am a full-time med student with 2 jobs, but let me clarify some things. 1, it was not SA. If it had been, I'm not heartless, I would feel completely different about the situation because it's relatable to me. I understand religious culture and culture in the South with older generations. A lot of times women weren't believed about SA. My grandmother ended up telling my grandpa about everything before my mom could and keeps saying she doesn't know and doesn't remember anything from that time, but I call BS. My grandmother can tell me what she ate on her 12th birthday at dinner. This woman forgets nothing, so I think she just doesn't want to talk about it, which is kind of understandable. You keep a secret that long, it's gotta be painful to have it come out. I took this into consideration and started trying to be nicer to her, but she just pushed me away more and started taking her anger out on me. I couldn't do anything right. She even called me a whore one time just for going on a date that lasted past 10 p.m. So I just started staying in my room, going to school and work and sleeping, and that's all my life is right now. There were also some comments saying that my grandmother was trying to protect me because she knows what men can be like and what the world can be like. I understand. I thought about this and considered it too, and I understand that maybe her behavior is protective, but I wanted to give a little advice to all you older folks out there with kids and grandkids. My generation respects people owning up to their mistakes. If she would have came from a place of, hey, I've made these mistakes and I know what it's like, so let me help you avoid doing whatever I did, versus you'll never be as perfect or godly as me, but you can at least try. I'd be a lot more open to listening, but the holier than thou behavior is what has a lot of people my age heading out of the church doors not in. But anyways, my mother is a certified sleuth. It took her about 48 hours to track down her cousins and 2 sisters. The sister lives pretty far, but her cousin lives 45 minutes away. They set up a lunch that same day and met. Here are the details. Let's just call her Anne. My mother's biological dad, sadly deceased, was a family friend of my grandma's family. They were the same age and started an affair after my grandma had my aunt, her second child. Anne's mother knew about the affair between my grandma and her brother and also knew my grandfather's family. Everyone was acquainted before the affair. Apparently, my grandparents had been fighting at the time. According to my grandfather, he was surprised but happy when my mother came along. You have to understand from what my mom and grandfather tell me, my grandma pushed for them to be as close as possible. My mom is the child my grandpa is closest to, his favorite. Apparently, my grandmother pushed for them to hang out together, go on day trips, just the 2 of them, almost like she was trying to create a failsafe. And my siblings and I were constantly with my grandparents when I was young, more than any other of the grandchildren. My grandfather is livid. He's not a talkative man, but he talks to me and my mom. This is how the conversation went. Me: How are you feeling about everything? Grandpa, you understand you're still my granddaughter and I love you. Nothing will change that. But I gave up my life for your grandmother. She was disgusted by the music I listened to, the friends I had, and even my family. I distanced myself from everyone. I threw away all of my records. I started going to a church I didn't even want to go to, all for her. I always thought she was a good girl. Even when my family would say things about her, I always chose her. It just hurts to know she didn't choose me. I hugged my grandpa, and he told me that also one day his sister came up to him and said that girl isn't who you think she is, but wouldn't give any other details. But he mostly ignored it. She was also saying how his family was no good and just using him. Here's the kicker though. My mom sat me down and said, I need to show you something. She pulled out a picture of my uncle, her older brother, that was really faded and kind of old-timey and said, who is this? And I looked at her confused and I said, duh, it's Uncle G. And she looked at me dead in the eyes and said, no, this is a picture of my father. What? More updates to come. I'll let you guys know when I do, but the plot thickens, I guess? Update. Hey guys, just thought I'd clarify for some people thinking my grandma slept with her son. I can assure you that did not happen.
No way.
When I saw the picture of her biological dad as a teenager, he looked almost identical to my uncle, so my mom thinks he might be my uncle's dad too.
That makes me
Oh,
sad.
I didn't even think about that. I connected it, but I didn't connect it.
What?
Yeah.
Because I was like,
I thought you said that.
I said it out loud, but I didn't think about it.
didn't register. 'Cause
I didn't.
We started talking, and I was like, "Wait, I didn't think you made the connection either."
I thought you did because you said it.
I said it, but I didn't make anyway.
So
That's funny.
I was like, no one needs that extra thing, but I guess we have a person who needs that.
I did. I needed the
No, that's
clarification.
crazy. But you didn't think
I didn't
that
think she had
slept
sex with her
both.
son.
But you just didn't point like, oh, it's probably. Please, we have to rewind what you said because you said exactly that, and the fact that you
Oh,
did.
I said. So her brother looks just like her dad.
Yeah.
But I didn't make the connection.
I was like, that's just an ancillary piece of information.
I was like, that's. I think
That's
because
cool.
I think I forgot that there's two separate dads in the situation. I was
Yeah.
just like, oh, they're siblings, of course. Like, so she was able to see her dad the whole time through her brother. Not okay. So her dad had him too.
So it was like her dad was with her because her brother, who looks a lot like him, was there as well.
Yeah. The more I keep saying it, the more I still
Yeah.
don't make the connection. I understand now, but I'm like, I would have kept saying it and been like,
crazy.
so it was just her, right, guys? And you're like, no, it was
No,
the
it's
whole.
the whole
thing,
family. Yeah. It's probably the sister too. None of them are.
I can't
grandpa.
wait to watch this back and just see them rewind and be like, yeah, they look just alike. Yeah, it's the whole family. So anyway, oh yeah, so it might be him too.
I'm like, oh,
No, Maddie's saying that. She's like, oh, so she got to spend time. It's like she got to spend time with her. It's crazy to me.
anyway. I know it's crazy because I kept saying it twice and you two both busted out laughing twice. I was like, what I'm saying must be crazy because in my head I'm like, I'm not making the connection. Okay.
You can't make that up. I'm
No,
sorry.
That's funny.
Okay. When I saw the picture of her biological dad as a teenager, he looks almost identical to my uncle, so my mom thinks he might be my uncle's dad too. I'm talking same smiles, same stance, same eyes, same nose, even the same early onset balding spot. LOL. But my uncle refuses to take a DNA test because he likes his life the way it is and his dad is his dad. I get the denial, but I'm telling you, if you guys saw these pictures of my uncle and my mom's bio dad, you'd think they were twins. It's insane. But I get his perspective. Some people just don't want to know and choose familiarity over truth. My entire extended family is pretty avoidant to begin with, so I didn't expect him to want to know more. They're all quite happy with ignoring tension and secrets and pretending everything is okay. As a neurodivergent with a strong sense of justice, if you know, you know, it really bothers me that my family can sit back and be fake with each other while there's these huge unspoken issues that no one will communicate about. I think that's the part of the reason I'm having such a hard time with this.